नमस्कार। रसोई के रहस्य के फेस्टिवल्स ऑफ इंडिया में हम एक बार फिर मिल रहे हैं, एक नया त्योहार और एक absolutely fabulous celebrations. So we are going to speak today about one of the most socially present festival, जो मतलब हर एक कोई enjoy करता है. There's perhaps nobody who doesn't go out and do something for this festival.
रसोई के रहस्य आओ मिलकर खोले हम रसोई के रहस्य आओ मिलकर खोले हम
Yes, you guessed it right, Ganesh Chaturthi. We have Ganesh Chaturthi celebrated in almost every part of the country, somewhere chota, thoda bada, but Maharashtra is where it all began. So obviously, we are going to travel back to Maharashtra with my guest, who I'm going to introduce to you in just a minute. We are going to be interacting today and hearing the Ganesha story from Manisha Bhise. If you remember, she's been here with us talking about Gudi Padwa, which was absolutely fabulous and so interesting. So let's not delay this. Let me welcome Manisha to the show. Hi Manisha, welcome to Rasoi Ke Rahasya. I should say welcome back.
Thank you, Payal. It's such a pleasure to be back, talking to you about the festival and one of my favorite festivals, Ganpati.
So, batao, Manisha, what does Manisha do? Who is Manisha Bhise? Apart from being a wonderful storyteller, or batao.
Okay, I am a nature enthusiast and I so feel, I think proud to say that because that is something which I have taken from my parents who are both nature lovers. So I love to go on trails, on treks, and explore different things and insects. I have been fascinated by insect world since childhood, and maybe that must be a different podcast, to talk about my story.
The creepy crawlies.
Yeah, the creepy crawlies who nobody likes, but yes, I do like them. So I love nature, and that is how, when I started to get bored of my IT chores and the rat race, I decided that it's time I amalgamate stories and nature and try to blend a complete new bond between children, books, stories, reading, and that is how I formed Gappa Stories.
So interesting. It's just so fabulous. So today we're going to be speaking about, you've admitted is your favorite festival. It's my favorite as well, not just because of all the wonderful Ganpatis that one sees around, but also because he is such a fabulous mythological character and god to speak of, and everything auspicious begins with Ganesha. Jai Ganesh. So I think on that note, I'll let you begin telling us, why do we celebrate Ganesha? Chaturthi, I know, is the fourth day of the waning moon.
Correct. Yeah. So, as I started that it is my favorite festival, I would, before we start, why did we begin celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi? I think I would like to start that why was I fascinated with Ganesha?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I remember that during those first 5 days, because schools had holidays when I was a child, I and my sister, we used to spend the entire 5 days at my Nani's house. Because she had a 5 days ka Gauri Ganpati celebration, okay?
Wow.
And also she lived in a small, chawl-like place like we have in Dadar, right? Chawl system, typical Maharashtrian family, where every household will have one Ganpati, alright? So our job was only to, distribute the prasad to whoever will come and then eat 2-3 modak and the sakar puta, the white sweet balls that you get, so gulp it down. And I can't even count it now that for how many years did I did it and enjoy it. And today when my son does it, I am like, don't eat too much sweet, it's not good, pet kharab ho jayega. And then I suddenly thought, seriously, when I was a child, I used to gorge on them like anything.
Absolutely. And kuch nahi hota. Festival ke time pe khane mein nothing happens.
Yes, correct. That is how, I think the best part is, that my past stories really help me to connect that, arey, hum log to aise hi bade hue, right? We enjoy doing everything, fun. And somehow today's parents are a little paranoid about everything. but I get to those terms that no, this festival is about enjoying, and that's what we do for Ganpati also. And if you see, like a historical significance, I think we all know that Bal Gandharva Tilak, he started that celebrating festivals like this on a mass scale where people will come together will actually help in binding the secular India that where we live in, and that is how it all started. And yes, Ganesha, if you see when it all started, I think only Maharashtrian, or it started with Maharashtra, where only people used to bring Ganpati for, mainly 5 days because they had a Gauri Ganpati, celebration. But now if you see the trend, I think Ganesha is, like Aradhya Devat for everybody, like, because
Absolutely.
we are so fascinated by his elephant face, huge ears, and I think that is some magic in his eyes. I mean, I always feel
Totally. I agree.
right.
Yes.
I always feel that if you watch that idol, I mean, although I'm not a very, I don't believe in idol worship, Payal. There is a different angle to it. But Ganpati, when I see into his eyes, I feel that he's talking to me. There is something that he wants to always connect his maybe devotees. So you need not really, be in front of him 24 hours or visit 100 temples or, offer him prasadam. That is the magic of his story or his aura.
Absolutely. So I remember when we were talking about this, you mentioned that the entire celebration actually begins one day before what is slated to be the Ganesh Chaturthi, the Chaturthi day.
Correct. Right.
So why don't you tell us some more about it?
So, on the previous day of Ganesh Chaturthi is called as Hartalika. Now, if you see this term, it is made out of, it can be extracted from two words, Harat and Alika, which means, like Harat actually means abduction, and Alika means a female friend. Now, I think, we all know that Devi Parvati was very, very fascinated by Lord Shiva. And although Lord Shiva was not, the very, you would say, aspired to be bachelorette,
Yes.
her father was against it. But she had already devoted her life to him. And to please him, she used to worship Lord Shiva, But it so happened that Himalaya, who, her father was not ready for this marriage. And so her friend called as Sakhi, a female friend, as we say, Alika, she abducted Parvati and took her deep inside a forest in a cave. And she said that you live here safe from your father and you worship, Lord Shiva until he agrees to marry you. And that is what happens, that if you see the different versions of Durga Ma also, right? The first version talks about this Devi who observed severe penance. So it is said that, on the, Devi Parvati, to please Lord Shiva, initially she was only on fruits, okay? Then slowly she gave up fruits. She only ate leaves, whatever leaves were found in the forest. Slowly she even gave up leaves. She ate only seeds. Then she gave up seeds and she then only had water for very, very, very long time. And after almost more than 60 years of her, severe penance, is Lord Shiva was, happy and they, got married. That is the story. And that is why Hartalika is not a festival, but it is a severe fast which is observed by females who think that yes, if they want, nice partner, life partner, then they should observe it. But if you see scientifically also, I feel there is a lot of significance. I mean, what do we do during fasting is we rather gorge on the unhealthy things, right? But I think here from Hartalika fasting, we should one should take a message that you should give up on the things which can make you, like we have tam and we have anger, right? So we go eat some sattvic food like Devi Parvati. That is why it also says that because she had lot of leaves and green leaves, right? Harit. So this is also called as Hartalika.
Nice.
And
Very interesting.
that is also why, if you see, many different kinds of leaves are being offered to Devi Parvati and her friend Sakhi. Both of them, these female friends, are worshipped here on the day of Hartalika.
Oh,
And they are,
nice.
yeah, that is like, I felt it so very nice, that Indian festivals are so different and unique, because there's such female, we only know Friendship Day, which
Yes,
celebrates.
totally. So totally. That's what I'm completely fascinated. And look at how far back in mythology also we're sitting and talking about friends and friends doing things for friends. Like you see, you have your friend, you want to go meet somebody that you shouldn't be meeting. You have a friend who will quietly organize that thing. So, I mean, now we can validate this by saying, hey, even Parvati did it. I can do it.
Correct, right.
So that's the fast, and then begins the festival when the installation of Sthapana happens.
Correct,
Tell us
right.
more about that and going forward.
So, what we do is, whenever we bring the murti, we ideally bring it a night before only.
Right.
And we always cover the face of Ganesha. Okay, it is said that before we actually keep him on the pedestal where we are going to worship him,
Right.
we don't show his face to anyone. That is how he's been worshipped. And after that, once the sthapana of Ganesha is done, then we do cotton vastra in the sense we make a kind of the genoy which a Brahmin wears, a
Right.
thread, right? So we make it out of cotton.
Right.
And we apply haldi kumkum to it, and we first wash his feet, then we apply him haldi, the kumkum or chandan tika, and yes, we decorate him with his favorite durva, and then hibiscus flowers, and obviously modak. Now there is a story behind each one of them, like why only durva? Should I share that wonderful
Yes, please.
story?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Now, again, this takes me back when I was a child, and I used to always ask Aji, tell me why only Durva, why only Modak, not any other prasad for Lord Ganesha. And as I remember what she told me, that Durva is nothing but, a grass, right? Strands of grass, and it is said that 21 strands of grass tied together is
Yes.
actually very auspicious to offer to Ganesha. Or sometimes we also have a mala of Durva, like 21
Or rings also. I've seen people do that on a ring also, tied around a finger.
Yes, correct. Now it is it is said that during one period there was an asura called Analasura. Now Anal means fire in Hindi or Sanskrit. So Analasura happened to create complete havoc in Swarga. Right, so all the gods were like completely terrified of him, and there was no one who could really stop Analasura. He was, spreading the fire across the Devalok. And now, when all the gods they went to Ganesha, who was then a child, he tried to fight Analasura, but he saw that Analasura was very, very ferocious and was not ready to stop his menace at all. That is when Lord Ganesha took the form of he became very, very, very huge, or rather huge than the Rakshasa himself, and he caught the Rakshasa and he ate him.
Okay.
That obviously put an end to the Asura, Analasura, but because that Anal or fire, because of that fire, Lord Ganesha was feeling very, very unpleasant in his stomach, and his entire body was burning, with pain. Like we have sometimes, this story can well be connected with why sometimes we should not overeat or eat too much spicy or acidic things, right? What happens? So our also stomach burns, right? Now, because Ganesha wanted to help all the gods came running. Lord Shiva, kept a moon, the Chandra core that we have on his head, and that is how he also came to be known as Bhalachandra. But still it did not help. Lord Indra came and he poured some water, and many other gods tried different things to cool Ganesha down. But it was then that the Sapta Rishis, they got Durva. 21 durva or this grass tied up, and they kept this durva on his head.
Right.
And that is said that it cooled off that heat, that burning sensation in his stomach. And from then day on, it is said that if you offer durva to Lord Ganesha, it will please him the most, because that is how it happens. And
Nice.
I have also read that eating durva is like we eat wheat grass also. It happens to be good or have antioxidant properties.
Right.
So it is said that it is good for health. So that is how
That's how it
we
gives it. Nice. So,
yes.
so everything takes goes back to nature, and of course, I mean, it keeps Manisha very happy.
yes, definitely.
So then the sthapna happens, and you do your first puja.
Puja, correct.
And then I've heard many stories about, every day of the 5 days, or how many ever, 8, 9 days or something. People have stories about each day something, being something different in terms of the Ganesha story. One day he's dressed in a particular way, another day he's dressed in another way. So what is it? What is that about?
Yeah, so, here again, the second day of Ganesh Chaturthi is called as Rishi Panchami. Now let me tell you one thing. Whenever I hear this word, my mouth starts watering, and I can dream of the bhaji. There is a particular bhaji called as Rishi Panchami. I'm sure the audience would be thinking, that the listeners, oh, Manisha is into eating. I don't know what all she loves to eat, but. These are certain memories, as I said again.
Absolutely, and that's what makes it so precious. That's what makes this episode special, because we're sharing it with you, and we're actually going on this journey with you.
Correct. So now, if you say the literal meaning of Rishi Panchami, it actually means about it is a traditional worshipping day of the Sapta Rishis. Like we know that there were the 7 sages, from Kashyapa, Bharadwaja to Vashishta. There are 7 such sages which are worshipped in India, and it is said that on this particular day, people express their gratitude or respect to all these ancient rishis, who devoted their life for the welfare of the society. So now, what I remember is that I have not seen my mother or anybody else doing a fasting specifically on this day. But yes, it is, there is a legend saying that on this particular day, which are produced without using the effort of an ox in a field, should not be consumed. So that means, then what should you eat then? So the Rishi Panchami, the vegetable or the bhaji, special bhaji which is created for the prasadam here, consists of all the vegetables which were, which either grow in the backyard or in the forest, like wild vegetables, you could say.
Right.
Ran bhaja, in Marathi, we say ran bhaja, which are like mostly available or rather seasonal, because they grow in ample in the monsoons when we have Ganesha, right? So again, bhajis like, the colocasia leaves, which are called as alu chi pani, alu vadi bhi rehta hai na, alu vadi, arbi ke patte, I think in Hindi. So those leaves and their stalks are used. Then we use, because alu has, it can have certain, so at times alu can be a little itchy.
Right.
It can be itchy. So to minimize that effect, we add an ambat sukka or ambadi. Again,
Right.
that is a
Yes.
little sour
Yes.
vegetable. Right?
Yes.
So all these are green leafy vegetables. Then we take some vegetables which are easily grown, like a pumpkin, red pumpkin, then okras, cucumber, and white corn. Nowadays, white corn is again a very, very rare thing that you see, because you usually get the yellow, the American corns.
Correct.
But yeah, what I remember is we used to have the white corns, cut into big pieces.
Correct.
And all kinds of rich gourds like dodka, turai, or different types of peas and green chilies. The significance of this vegetable is, as I said, nothing which is produced in the farm, on a mass scale or using ox. It is used. So ghee, only 1 spoon of ghee, and all these mixed vegetables with a cup of water. Is it just boiled? All right, all this is just boiled and it is simmered for a while and added with some freshly scraped coconut. That's it.
Wow.
Salt and green chili. I mean, it is so healthy and yet it is yummy. I mean,
I know. I can imagine. It sounds like it would be quite a connection.
yes. So you can say that it is. You can add lots of yam also. I think while we spoke last time, it is quite similar to the Gujarati undhiyu. But
Yes,
in
pretty
undhiyu,
much.
you have
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, where you have a lot of maybe oil also because that is how it is steamed. Here we don't use oil. We only add a tablespoon of ghee. That's it. Rest everything is steamed, but the experience of this bhaji is like magical.
So that but that's eaten on that particular day itself. I mean, it's
Yes. It's eaten on that particular day itself, and trust me, my mother was working, like a working woman. So she used to make it whatever style she could, or whatever vegetables she could get in the end of the at the end of the day. But my father's best friend's wife, she used to prepare almost 10 kg of that vegetable.
Oh wow! Okay.
And my father used to bring one big, dabba, steel ka dabba,
So she
tiffin-
used to do seva. She used to do jan seva basically. They make it for everybody who couldn't make it themselves.
Yes, and I mean, that is one day when we really remember that auntie for that Rishika Bhaji that, I mean, not that we don't remember her otherwise, but that किसी के हाथ का वो taste रहता है
Yes,
ना,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. And वो भी जो प्रसाद का बना हो, I mean, or
हाँ.
made for a particular purpose, वो तो that is a totally different ballgame altogether.
देख तो वो ऐसे मतलब उनका सब्जी ना वो खाने के लिए मतलब दुनिया आती थी वहां पे लाल बाग में, और हम लोग का सारा गणपति फेस्टिवल ना लाल बाग दादर ये एरिया में. तो बस आप पंडाल हॉपिंग करो, यहाँ पे प्रसाद खाओ, उधर वो सब्जी खाओ, फिर
बस फिर वही बात है ना. तो फिर any wonder then people think that Ganesh festival is only meant for eating.
Right.
So then after that, then what happens?
So that is the second day of Ganpati. Right now, most of the households nowadays, I think because everybody is working, वो 1.5 दिन में तो विसर्जन करते हैं बहुत सारे लोग. But जो लोग 4 days, 5 days लाते हैं ना, so we then welcome Gauri Ganpati, like Gauri on the 3rd or 4th day, and जब मैं छोटी थी ना, मतलब frankly मुझे लगता था कि वापस गौरी को क्यों लाते हैं मम्मा, पता नहीं, और वो 2 रहती है, some people think. Then as I grew up, when I started reading, I understood that although Gauri is also an avatar of Ma Parvati, alright, who is the mother of Lord Ganesha, it is believed that on the 4th day or the 3rd or 4th day, we welcome Gauri as Ganesha's sister.
Right.
Who comes to
yes, I've heard of that. Yeah.
So again, it is such a beautiful festival where I think we don't only as like on the first day we celebrate the sisterhood, the women's sisterhood, right? Like friendship. Then we welcome Lord Ganesha. Second day we worship all the sages, actually helped us worship the gods, and then we also worship Ma Gauri. So it means that it also gives us a message that there is no one who is who said it all, like one God, but we so much cherish each and every one in the festival, right?
Every relationship, you're celebrating relationships, you're celebrating the various aspects of a festival that is not just relationships, it's about people, it's about food, it's about community, it's about everything.
Yes, and it is about the bonding that that these festivals also bring together, right? Because as I said, I remember pandal hopping, but we still go to each other at least for during this Ganpati, right, to see Ganpati. Now Ganpati is the same, right? But still I love to go to my neighbor's house. I would love to go to any other's place house and have that worship how they have decorated their
Absolutely.
house.
And people like to welcome each other also. People welcome every evening. There is puja that happens in different places, whether it is a pandal or whether it is in people's homes or whatever it is.
Correct.
The celebrations happen. Prasad is made.
So I mean that entire thing, and you would be amazed the way Gauri is also made. Nowadays, yes, we get a ready-made Gauri. I mean, we obviously get a Gauri the mask, which is either made of clay or paper. But it is said that, again, all these festivals, I think, they also talk about sustainability, Payal. Like in the olden days when this all started, there were no fancy idols, right? Like Gauri was made out of, there were these plants which were taken. Again,
Yes.
forest plants, which are widely grown. Okay. And those sticks were taken and they were tied together. Then the mask of Gauri's head, so the face of Gauri was a painted mask or a clay mask was, decorated on the sticks. Then for her body and her arms, do you know the सुपड़ा और विनो जो हम पुराने जमाने में वो छानने के लिए लेते हैं, वो विनो वो ऐसे टाई करते हैं. अगेन वो बैम्बू का बना रहता है, मतलब सब नेचुरल है.
पीछे से टाई करो तो साइड्स पे निकल के आता है वो. It extends outwards. Yes,
और फिर उसको सिर्फ साड़ी आप डाल के उसको सजाओ. गौरी है, मतलब वो हमारे में जैसे हम हल्दी कुमकुम देते हैं ना सबको, सवाशनी बोलते हैं, मतलब जो मैरिड वुमन है तो उनको वेनी डालना, हल्दी कुमकुम लगाना, टीकी लगाना, ग्रीन बैंगल्स डालना, तो ऐसे सब पूरा सजाते हैं. सो आई थिंक दिस इज लाइक क्वाइट mesmerizing, how it all happens and is culminated at the end of the day.
And then 4 days, 5 days, and then the Visarjan comes. So food in general, like you said, there's the bhaji, then there's of course the very famous Modak. And is there anything else specific that is cooked during this period?
In our native, like my husband's side, on the second day we also offer Puran Poli.
Lovely. That is the staple.
Yeah. Food, correct. So, but here, in our village, like my husband's village, it is said that snake gourds are very, very, easily grown there during this season, monsoon season. And every backyard you will see. But because snake gourd looks like the sound or the trunk of
Bhagwan,
Ganpati, yes, Ganesha. So villagers there believe that during the 5 days of Ganpati, 10 days of Ganpati, we should not eat that sabzi. So that is one thing. Otherwise, normally yes, it is a mixture of green vegetables. But I remember again that मेरे आजी के यहाँ जब भी विसर्जन होता था ना last day पे, we used to make काळे वटाण्याची उसळ. I mean again those black beans and vade. Vada is like mixed आटे का पूरी जैसा चीज होता है पर थोड़ा कड़क रहता है.
Okay.
तो ये हम लोग ऑफर करते थे.
So Visarjan में then you take the Ganpati and you immerse him somewhere, or do you nowadays of course everything has changed.
Oh yes, yeah. Nowadays again we order very small. We have reduced the size of Ganpati only because yes, we need to be aware and responsible.
Green Ganeshas.
Green Ganeshas, yeah. So plantable Ganeshas and all, yeah. But we do Visarjan and we dance and we have the whole tasha. That is one thing again I like. I never dance at all, but if you start that daga 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 daga,
yes.
I can start dancing to that tune anytime.
But that's the whole, it's that whole energy of the whole thing. I think it's that love for everything and just मतलब वो एक aura है उसका, like you said, that you can't help but be in the moment, present there completely.
Absolutely.
So Manisha, we were discussing about the Visarjan or the immersion after the festivities of 5 days or how many ever days a family chooses to have Ganpati in their home. Are there any rituals? Is there anything more that happens during the Visarjan?
Yeah, so one thing which I forgot to tell you is that when we bring the Ganpati also, right, on the first day, we make a rice powder paste, okay, a wet paste, and we apply it on our hand, and we, stamp the Ganpati's feet as if, Ganpati presence is there, is felt in all the rooms. So we take the Ganpati, we idle in all the rooms, and along with that we stamp his feet such that his presence is felt in the entire house that we have, and then we place the Ganpati on the the pedestal to worship. Okay. Similarly, on the day of Visarjan, once we have done with the final aarti at home, again we take the idol and we make him, we take him through all the rooms of our house, and along with it again we stamp the feet, saying that through these many days, Ganpati has blessed us with his presence in our entire house, and let him still bless, even if his Bappa is going, like for Visarjan. So that is how we.
So
that is
beautiful.
one.
It's so symbolic and so beautiful that he's. So you feel his presence at all times, and he's there with you.
That is really.
उसके
that is
बाद
one
में
thing which.
हाँ
उसके बाद मतलब अभी तो जैसे मैंने we told you that then we have a group aarti in the temple and then we do the Visarjan. But yes, then again, I'm not sure if you know about this, but after the Ganpati idol is the immersion is done, we never come back empty-handed. We have a little bit of sand or clay from the river.
How wonderful.
And we bring that and we keep that on the pedestal now once we are back, and we worship that again. So एक बार एक छोटा आरती वापस होता है when we are back home, saying that finally I think what it symbolizes is again that no matter God or we humans, we finally are what? Dust or clay. Our body is made out of clay and
yes, all the ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Correct. Right, but then we still worship every form of it, right? And that is how beautiful our festivals are.
It's so beautiful because it's ultimately rooting you to who you are and to your existence on a day-to-day basis. There's no fanciness, and everything has a reason and a meaning for all of it, and there's जितना उनको लाने में there's joy, as sad as you are to see him go, but I think there's still the joy of having had him for that much time.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there is no doubt about it, though, that energy which he brings in, and that aura which remains in your house for those 2 days or 5 days, whatever days, it keeps you grounded, yet you're on cloud 9. It's a mixed feeling.
So beautiful. Also, I was thinking, we hear so much about the Modak, and nowadays, of course, there are so many fancy versions of the Modak that I've heard chocolate Modak and this Modak and that Modak, but it's a fixture. When you say Ganpati, you associate Ganpati and Modak together. Is there any reason why a Modak is so important as an offering to Ganpati, or मतलब उनके मूर्ति भी देखो and things like that, you see a Modak definitely on the side?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Payal. Yes, there is an interesting story behind it, and I would love to share it here.
Please do.
So, the story goes back like this when once Lord Shiva, he planned to visit, Rishi Muni Atri's ashram. And he went there with Bal Ganesha. Okay. Now, obviously, when both of them arrived, Atri Rishi's wife Anusaya had prepared all the food, like puri, sabzi, dal, roti, whatever delicacies she had prepared. And like we also usually do, we first serve the young ones, the little children, right? So Anusaya decided, let me serve little Ganesha first, while Lord Shiva and her husband were chit-chatting. And so she served him. But, one plate was served, then another, and it so happened that whatever had been served to Lord Ganesha, it was not able to fulfill his hunger, as if, he had an insatiable hunger. He was just not feeling full. And Anusaya was like, what now? Whatever food she had, because she did not want to, then feel it was Bal Ganesha, not to make him sad. She offered him everything that was there in her kitchen, but still he was feeling hungry and he asked for more. Finally, Anusaya was like worried, and she decided, now what next? The last thing she could think was, she quickly grated some coconut, right? Freshly grated coconut, she mixed it with some jaggery.
Okay.
And if you're aware, that is how our modak, our steamed modak or ukdiche modak are made. The filling is of coconut and jaggery. Right. So she quickly rolled a modak and gave it to Ganesha. And
Okay.
surprisingly, Ganesha's stomach was full after eating that one modak itself.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, and he burped once. While it is said that, even by not eating it, Lord Shiva burped 21 times.
Mm.
So it is said that, offering 21 modak to Lord Ganesha does not only satiates his hunger, but it also satisfies Lord Shiva. And
Wow.
that is an amazing story behind why Modak yeah, Ganesha are like inseparable, right?
Right, completely. And it's so amazing. But see, over there also, food is actually the basis of everything. I think it satiates the soul, not just the stomach, it's the soul. See, when Ganesha's stomach was satiated, Lord Shiva's soul was satiated as well. So I think that's pretty
Yes,
much how
yes,
it goes.
correct, correct. And all these stories make me always mesmerized, like how our tradition is so strongly rooted, right, in the basics.
Yes.
That again, when you can prepare or you can have delicacies, rich delicacies in a restaurant or hotel, right? But finally, a homemade sweet, which is made with love, is something that you cherish for the lifetime, right?
No,
You cannot.
totally. Yes. It's the simplicity of the whole thing. Like in the previous episode that we did about Krishna, over there also, the Krishna and Sudama story with the poha. I mean, what
Correct.
was that? There was an entire episode in life changed over just that handful of poha. So it's
Right,
just
correct.
that. I think it's not, it's what you do with your heart and it's what you offer with absolutely clean soul. I think that's what matters.
Absolutely, right, right. I completely agree.
So now it's time for our recipe. You're going to give us, our listeners, a fabulous recipe that's going to be healthy as well as wonderful to eat. So please.
I am excited to share this recipe, and as I mentioned before, this is one recipe which is a tradition in all the Maharashtrian homes. It is prepared on the second day of Ganesh Chaturthi, and it is called as Rushichi Bhaji, or a vegetable for the sages.
Right.
And if in Ayurveda, our food or ahar, is classified into three categories, depending upon the qualities. Like, there is a Rajas ahar or Rajas, Rajas ahar, which is fit for, I think, things very rich and sweet, right? And there is a Tamas ahar, which generates heat and acidity, like for a
Right.
warrior. And then there is a Sattvic ahar, which is for the sages, right? Which is sustainable and which promotes peace of mind. So
Right.
Rishi Panchami, is also connected somewhere where we only consume this sattvic food or food which is, as I mentioned before, grown, easily in the backyard or in the forest. And these vegetables are seasonal in nature.
Right.
So the ingredients that would be needed, for this vegetable would be, say, two main ingredient is the aduchi pane, or you say, the colocasia leaves, जिनके
Yes,
बड़ी
Africa.
बनती है, अरबी के पत्ते. You have to chop them finely, chop the leaves. You can also use the stalks of these leaves,
Yeah,
and
because they have the most flavor actually. The stalks of all these have lots of flavor.
yes, correct, correct. So, and in this bhaji, the main easiest way is that you need not cut it finely. You can keep all the vegetables, dice them into 1-inch pieces, somewhere like that. So you don't have to do too much of work also to dice them finely, something like that. Again, you need half a bunch of green sorrel leaves, or what we call ambadi, which is a little ambat, sour taste, sour taste leafy vegetable. Again, chop. Then we need all our diced other vegetables like pumpkin, okras, cucumber, then rich gourd or dodka turai, what we call, green peas. And along with this, we need corn, white corn preferably, but nowadays yellow is what easily available, so even yellow would do. We need not separate the corn kernels, but we need them, cut them into 2 or 3-inch pieces, like the
Right.
whole corn
the cob.
cob. Yeah, cob. Then 3 to 4 green chilies, freshly scraped coconut, a spoonful of ghee, desi ghee or two, and 1 teaspoon of jeera.
Mm.
And now again, because these the leaves, the colocasia leaves are can sometimes be a little itchy. That is why we balance their taste with the ambadi and plus little bit of jaggery, only
Right.
to right. So all these is a kind mix blend of taste variety. Now what we have to do is wash all these vegetables, dice them nicely. And now in cities, people prefer to take a whistle or pressure cook it. But as I told you, we celebrate it in native. So we usually prepare this in a huge pot, earthen pot.
Right.
So because that gives out its own flavor.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So you melt the ghee and then add the cumin seeds. Once the seeds crackle, then you add the slit green chilies and saute them for a minute. And then you add all the vegetables that we had, we spoke about.
Right.
And just add, only a half cup of water is okay, because all these leafy vegetables are going to, release their own water, right? They have high water content. So you just cover and cook them for a low flame for 10 minutes. And that's it mostly. Then you just add salt and jaggery, and in the end you add coconut and mix it well and serve hot with rice or bhakaris. I mean, that is the best.
Lovely. So it cooks it basically once the vegetables are cooked. Then is this like a little bit of a curry, or is it a sukha sabzi, or how is it?
No, it is a little runny. Yeah, it has a little bit of curry. You can also add, beans or yam, whatever vegetables.
Basically, yes, whatever. But traditionally, these are the vegetables. Additionally, you can add whatever suits the palate, I suppose.
Correct. Right.
And you said snake god you don't eat because of the nature of the god looking like Ganpati's, his trunk.
So, yes. Yeah. We don't put that. But other than that, you can add any.
Yeah, the goats are okay.
Yeah, the other goats are fine. And
Wonderful.
I mean, just imagine, Payal, it does not even need onions and tomatoes and garlic and so many spices that we usually add otherwise, right? Without these spices and minimal of ingredients, this is a yummy,
That's what you're saying, no? I mean, imagine you get the true flavors of only all the vegetables just with salt in it and a little bit of jaggery and little bit chili in it. So it's just pretty much the original flavors of the vegetables that are coming out.
Yes, perfectly.
Amazing. I think I've actually taken a trip with you through your family's celebrations, bringing Ganpati home, to immersing him, to everything in between. I think it's been such a beautiful journey. Hopefully life will give me an opportunity to actually experience it in your village, and I can only imagine, because you've painted such a beautiful picture. I actually saw the whole thing happening. So I'm wishing your family and everybody a very, very auspicious Ganesh Chaturthi, and hopefully it's going to bring in an era of peace and auspicious beginnings. Manisha, thank you so much for spending this time with us.
I am grateful to you, Payal, because reminiscing childhood memories in such an interesting way, talking about Ganesha is always fascinating for me. And it helped me to connect with the listeners again. And I mean, I felt like I have started celebrating Ganesha right in advance. So it is so great to come here and talk with you, and you're anytime welcome. My native is just in Kolad, 2 hours drive from Bombay. So anytime you wish to join me, you are always welcome.
One day, definitely. I'm sure one day I'm going to take this trip, take this journey, because you can't experience these things anywhere else, but where it's still truly done, the way it needs to be done. So you have a wonderful festival, and we'll take leave from you, and hope you have a wonderful time.
Thank you once again, Payal. And here's me also wishing all the listeners a very, very healthy and auspicious Ganesh Chaturthi, and may we all be blessed with, whatever we wish for, and happiness indeed.
तथास्तु, आई थिंक वी कैन से दैट सेफली। रसोई के रहस्य का ये गणेश चतुर्थी का एपिसोड बस यहाँ तक ही। इतना खूबसूरत, इतनी यादें, इतनी सारी अलग अलग ट्रेडिशंस हमने मनीषा के साथ शेयर करी। आप भी सुनिए और इसका आनंद लीजिए और मनाइए गणेश चतुर्थी। अगले त्योहार तक आपसे विदा लेते हुए नमस्कार।